Today will be a day long remembered in wrestling, not just because of the departure of CM Punk from AEW, but also there was a WWE pay-per-view tonight. Probably the least newsworthy story of the weekend, but nevertheless, one that I will be reviewing today. Payback 2023 took place tonight from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The PPG Paints Arena, I think it is. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on the card tonight and on the show overall. Surprisingly enough, this turned out to be a pretty good pay-per-view. You know, going into it, it just screamed B show. Like, it just felt so much like a B show. It was just ridiculous. But by the end of it, we had a lot of good matches, and we had some cool little segments and some teases for the future. And it was good stuff, yo. Very surprised, too, by that main event. We'll get to it. So the opening matchup was they started the pay-per-view with the steel cage match. I thought this for sure was going to go on later in the card. And that's Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch. And first of all, I was surprised as to how much they did here. The match went about 20 minutes, and they were like, Trish Stratus is like, she's discovered the fountain of youth, not just with the way she looks, but the way she works. Like, they were doing some pretty crazy stuff in that cage. It wasn't like, you know, too much like super risky stuff, but they were doing more than you would think they would do for this. Because it wasn't going to be like a violent 1980s cage match. It was going to be more of a modern athletic one. Now, Becky Lynch won and ends the feud now, finally. She started a new feud later in the show with the NXT Women's Champion. So that's going to be transitioning over to NXT. I remember reading online there was rumors of her going to NXT temporarily. So that'll be her next feud. But what happened was after the match ended, Trish Stratus was attacked by Zoe Stark. So that's going to be a new program, I guess, coming out of the pay-per-view. This show ended some storylines and also continued some and started new ones. Then they followed it up with LA Knight versus The Miz. LA Knight won the match. 15 minutes or so. One of the things about the match was it was at this point that John Cena came out, who was the host of the show. Now, the talk amongst people is that the reason why John Cena is even at this show is because of the writer's strike in California. So because of that strike going on, he's been coming back to wrestling to make more appearances. So I guess that's one of the few good things about the strike, if there even is something good about it. So Cena actually chose to introduce, LA Knight and The Miz, and he became the referee for the match. LA Knight wins the match clean and is kind of endorsed by John Cena. This was done to do, as they say in wrestling, to give him the rub. John Cena gave LA Knight the rub because obviously WWE has plans for LA Knight. He won the SummerSlam Battle Royal, and I've seen a lot of people online say, "Oh, he should be the U.S. champion. I don't think they should do any of that right now, even though I understand why you want that. I think with LA Knight, you have to bring him along slowly. Have him do different feuds with different guys and work his way up. I could see him winning the Royal Rumble in 2 years or Money in the Bank in 2 years. Not next year, I don't think. But I think little by little, I think they could build him up to be a serious megastar because his merchandise numbers are crazy for this era, yo. And the guy's got incredible charisma. He comes out, the place explodes. Like, it sounds like Hulk Hogan was coming out there in 86. You know what I mean? It's that loud. Then we had Rey Mysterio and Austin Theory. Pretty basic match, not very long. Rey Mysterio won and retained the title. And it seems like they're still building a Rey Dominic rematch from WrestleMania, which might even happen at WrestleMania next year. I mean, they could just do it again and then have Dominic win this time. But it feels like that's where they're going. I really thought that there was a chance that Theory could get the title back because he was basically doing the cowardly, cocky U.S. champion thing for a while. But it seems like they were planning on doing like a Santos turn. And I'm not saying this is for sure going to happen, but it felt like that. However, tonight, I didn't see anything that made me think they were going to do that turn anytime soon. So if they're going to do that, it'll be down the road. Then we had what I thought was the best match of the night, yo. The Pittsburgh Steel City Street Fight for the undisputed tag team championships of the world. The Judgment Day Finn Balor, Damian Priest, won the WWE Tag Team titles from Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They actually won the titles, yo, but they had help. J.D. McGunna, whatever, fucking Finn Balor's friend, helped. Dominic helped. Rhea Ripley helped. So it was like 5-on-2. But man, this match was crazy. They brawled all over the building. At one point, Kevin Owens, this was like the most memorable thing about the show. Kevin Owens hits a swanton off of a balcony. Now, seeing Jeff Hardy do something like this at the Royal Rumble 2000 was impressive. But this is Kevin Owens, man. He weighs about twice as much as Jeff Hardy. He's a bigger guy. So when he hit this swanton, I thought for a minute there that he might have messed up his tailbone because it looked like he hit the concrete. Now, when he was getting up, he was kind of selling the hand, or maybe he really did hurt his hand. There's no way you can jump from a balcony down in a swanton position and not feel a little bit banged up. So I think he banged something up for sure. Sami Zayn ends up getting pinned in the ring. And then afterward, the Judgment Day celebrated. They even did a promo later with the Judgment Day. They were all together. And basically, Damian Priest was like, now that we're the champions, we're going to go celebrate. And, I'm taking my briefcase. So when they left, it was implied they were leaving the building. So that told me, like, okay, we're not going to get a cash in at the end of the night. But the Judgment Day has a bunch of titles now. They've got the women's title. They got the NXT North American title. They got the tag titles now. And they have the Money in the Bank briefcase, which can lead to them getting more titles. So they have gold. And it was the right time, I would say, to give them something. I think it's too soon to turn them. I think they're going to eventually split. And we're going to have that. Because they've been teasing that split for a while. I think we're going to get it eventually. Then we had Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. This was a good match. They worked really, really hard. Actually, I should mention Trish and Becky also worked really hard. Like, they were not slouching here. That's why I said Trish found the fountain of youth. Rhea Ripley has a tremendous presentation right now. She comes out there and it's the music, the way she carries herself. Like, when you talk about who the best women's wrestler is in that company, a lot of folks are usually arguing between, like, Charlotte, Asuka, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. I think you could make an argument for any of them, Bayley, but I think when it comes to the overall package and the character, I think Rhea Ripley's got it. I think the character-wise, the stuff she does with Dominic is awesome. The fact that she interacts with and helps out the Judgment Day. I mean, dude, there's a spot on this show where in the Judgment Day tag match, where she straight up speared Kevin Owens through the barricade. This is a chick, a woman spearing big ass Kevin Owens. Now, Rhea Ripley's a big woman. She's a big, strong, athletic woman. But she broke the barricade with Kevin Owens, man. But I just don't know who's gonna beat her. Like, I don't know anybody right now on the Raw brand, at least, who's being set up to beat her, except maybe Becky next year, down the road. But right now, I wouldn't even suggest that they take that women's title off of her, man. She is carrying that thing like a champion. She is carrying that thing like a pro. She's probably one of the best champions. Her and Roman Reigns are probably my two favorite champions right now in the company. You know what I mean? As far as, like, really being consistent with their characters. Like, they're very old school with that, and I respect it. Raquel had no chance. Then we get to the main event. Again, only 6 matches on this show. Seth Rollins against Shinsuke Nakamura for the World Heavyweight title. This match was long. And it was also not even a WWE match. Nakamura and Rollins straight up did a New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax match here, dude. I'm not even making this up. Seth Rollins straight up did the Rainmaker. Michael Cole called it a clothesline, but it was the Rainmaker. He even had the wrist control thing that Okada does. He did the high fly flow, and I know it's a frog splash, but the way he did it was more like how Tanahashi does it than anybody else. Nakamura actually busted out the classic New Japan Nakamura style, the strong style. People think that the Nakamura we see in WWE that we've seen for the past few years is how Nakamura is like at his best, and it's not. New Japan Nakamura, the one that was wrestling Kota Ibushi and Tanahashi in the Tokyo Dome, that's who we got. For the first time, I think, since like the Sami Zayn match in NXT, we got classic Nakamura, and it was a good match. They had a lot of near falls, but the thing is, they worked really hard, and I have a ton of respect for both Seth and Nakamura for putting together that great match. It's almost like they said to themselves, okay, tomorrow night Kenny Omega is going to wrestle Takeshita on AEW. We got to make our match as good as that one. I'm not saying they really felt that way, but, you know, wrestlers are sometimes very competitive as far as putting on the best show. And we're the ones who benefit from that, the fans. I wouldn't be surprised because you know that Omega and Takeshita is going to have a good match, right? You know they're going to. And this was good. This felt like something right out of New Japan. It was almost like it didn't even fit. Michael Cole didn't know how to properly call it. It just wasn't the same. The only problem, the only real criticism I would give of the match is that at no point did I think that Nakamura was going to win. I understand they just turned Nakamura. They gave him this really cool Japanese style, like manga influenced entrance. I thought that was really cool how they did that. And I like his character nice. He's a refreshed version of Nakamura. But at no point did I think he was going to lose that. He was going to win the title. I did not at one point. And I think it's because they haven't had enough time to build up Nakamura. Like, Nakamura, let's be honest, y'all. Nakamura's kind of been like a mid-card comedy act for a while now. Like, he hasn't really been a top guy for quite some time, since maybe 2019, 2018. He kind of was teaming up with Rick Boogs and, you know, was coming out on SmackDown and, you know, usually in the middle of the card, not really headlining. So for me to believe he was going to be a credible challenger, I think WWE just needs to give us more time with him. But it wasn't enough time, so I didn't think he was going to win, and he didn't win. Seth Rollins wins with the curb stomp. Almost a 30-minute match. It was a little bit over 25 minutes, but it was a good show closer. Seth wins out of nowhere with that move. Dude, they busted out like Emerald Frosians and Falcon Arrows. I mean, I know Seth does that, but it was just, seeing it in this context was different. And so Seth retains. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to go ahead and keep going with Nakamura and have him continue to challenge and feud with Seth, or if they're going to bring the Judgment Day back in with the Money in the Bank briefcase and tease that, or what. Now, the other thing I want to talk about real quick is the Grayson Waller segment with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes came out and introduced, this was earlier in the show, he introduced Jey Uso as being the newest member of the Monday Night Raw team. So Jey Uso has left SmackDown. He's now a Raw guy. So on SmackDown, you've got a feud between John Cena and Jimmy Uso that's right now kind of in the works. And then on Raw, you're going to have Jey Uso with Cody. Now, I've already told you this if you've been following me, but WrestleMania, they're going to do Jimmy versus Jey, because they talked about it to Ariel Helwani. They want to wrestle each other. We're going to get Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania. We're also going to get Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns too. This time, Cody will win the title. And it's clearly becoming more and more obvious with every month they're going in this direction. Not just if you listen to the interviews Cody does and read between the lines of the stuff he says, but the fact that he's still very much involved with the Usos. Remember, the Usos were his enemies just a few months ago. You know? The fact that he's still getting involved with those Samoans and the bloodline means that Roman Reigns, and they even showed a video package on this show about Cody's quest to become the champion and, you know, fulfilling that story, finishing the story by winning the championship that Roman has. Not the one Seth has. The Roman one is the one that has the lineage going back to Bruno Sammartino, Superstar Billy Graham, etc. Steve Austin, Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, all those guys. So Logically, it looks like they've already got those 2 matches planned for WrestleMania. I think it makes sense. I think it's 2 big matches, the Usos, Civil War, and Cody versus Roman. And this time, will Solo even be with Roman? Because it looks like Solo's about to feud with AJ Styles on SmackDown too. So I'm wondering if they're going to eventually twist it to where AJ feuds with Roman. They could do that. They've had some great matches back in 2016, so they do work together well. We'll see what they do. But WWE is still kind of an exciting product. Bringing Jay back for Raw was great. There were people who actually thought this dude quit the company. And they were very clever about it. They moved his picture to the alumni page and all that, People actually believed he left the company. Listen, nobody says I quit in public. No wrestler will ever quit on television and actually quit. When somebody quits on TV, it's an angle. 99% of the time. 99 out of 100 times, it's an angle. So when he said that on SmackDown, I was like, he'll be back. Didn't think he was going to go to Raw, though. But he is going to Raw. So I guess what they could do, if they bring back War Games, is they could have Cody, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens against the Judgment Day with JD McCunn, that guy, the JD dude, have him be there instead of Rhea Ripley, 4-on-4. They could do that, and that's logical to me. But we'll see what they do. Anyways, thumbs up show. Not a bad show at all. It did feel a little bit like a house show. Maybe it felt like a little bit of a longer episode of Raw, but the main event definitely felt like that was special. It definitely did, and so was that tag team match. That tag team match, the Pittsburgh Steel City Street Fight, go out of your way to see it, That was one of the best matches of the whole year. Best tag team match of the year, it's up there. It's probably in the top 5. Easily top 5. So go out of your way to see that. And go out of your way to see Nakamura and Seth if you like New Japan. Anyways, y'all, I'm out. I'll see y'all tomorrow for All Out. Take care.